Virgin Atlantic has gone dynamic. Now, what does this mean exactly? There's no longer predictable pricing. And so United and KLM and Air France, both of these are examples of other people that have dynamic pricing. And so essentially what it means is that that Virgin Atlantic will now charge essentially any price they want on any day they want, and you kind of just have to deal. But the saving grace of dynamic pricing is award saver rates. Award saver rates essentially are the lowest price that you can expect to pay whenever booking an award flight. And so in this live stream today, I'm going to show you how to find these saver rates, and we're probably going to uncover some more saver rates that people haven't been talking about quite yet, because I'm going to show you 3 different ways to find these rates. So we are on virginatlantic.com, and now if you haven't already, you do need to create an account today, because I had a friend, they booked their honeymoon through Virgin Atlantic, and they transferred their points, created their account, but Virgin Atlantic requires you to have your account registered for like 2 or 3 days. And so they were kind of sweating a little bit, waiting for that account to get registered before they're able to use their points. So make your account today if you haven't. Anyways, log in. And so we're going to throw in just kind of a random date. It's going to be mid-January, so we got an off-peak award flight that we're looking for. So we're just going to hit search. And so we're just going to try to see what are the lowest prices we can find here. Okay, so as you can see, this is what it looks like whenever you find your flights. And so if you didn't select the award flight option, just be sure to hit points in the corner over here. And here you go. As you can see, it does give you a little week-long calendar, and you can scroll to the right to pick out one day at a time. And these are all the cheapest flights. So it does have this tag whenever it is a saver award flight. So it's 6,000 points for the economy with $73 in taxes, and then 45 points and $482 in taxes for the business class. There are actually lower flights out there, and we'll kind of work to figure out how to find those here soon. First, let me just point out, this economy price is 6,000 points. It used to be 10,000 points, 7,500 points at the lowest. And now the taxes, these are just about half of what we used to pay. 150 was kind of the baseline economy prices. So it's great news that they've at least kind of decreased these taxes and fees. And this is a flight to London where they're kind of renowned to have those high taxes going in. And then this upper class here, 45,000, those prices are better than what they were as well. That used to be $1,000 one way, upper class, essentially no matter what route you're flying. So it was really hard to recommend anyone to use Virgin Atlantic as a transfer partner, or they just had to be pretty cautious. It had the low points price to be very appeasing. However, the taxes really ruined the redemption. This is fine and dandy here. Now, the only thing I don't like is that there's not really an award calendar anymore. However, Virgin Atlantic does have a reward seat checker, and so there is a way to access it via the homepage. Flying Club here, and then reward seat checker. So that's how you get to it. Or you could just Google Virgin Atlantic reward seat checker, and it would also just bring it up real quick. And now a nice thing about Virgin Atlantic is that they are a transfer partner of everyone, essentially every bank: Chase, American Express, Citi, Wells Fargo, you name it, you got it. And so this is the reward seat checker here. So you simply select where you want to fly from, and it will give you a list of all the destinations that Virgin Atlantic flies to. And so there's a lot of interesting ones. The one that caught my eye really was South Africa, Cape Town, Johannesburg. But let's first start off with Edinburgh. Scotland is a big destination here. Once you pick your destination, it'll tell you what the departure airport is. Kind of have to work in that way, which is kind of counterintuitive for how we usually look for flights. And so let's say we're looking for kind of the summertime here. And so now it gives you this nice calendar here. So none of these are the saver award rates. However, you can see the economy prices here and the upper class. So here is a saver award available. So 57,500 points. And then as you can see, these other prices get really high, 170,000 points for the same flight. And now the thing that I don't love about the reward seat checker is that it doesn't tell you how many seats are actually available. And if you wanted to actually look at this flight, you can't. I'm clicking here. You can't click on it. So that's an issue. And it's pretty inconvenient. So what you would have to do is go to find my reward seats. It'll tell you, oh, you just got to go to the main page, and it'll route you to the main page so you could type in the same itinerary that you found over here. And so it's inconvenient in that method. However, it is better than having no calendar at all. And it is nice that they put the saver available tag there. And then if you wanted to search the opposite direction, you can just click this button and it will search Orlando to Edinburgh instead. That's how you search on Virgin Atlantic. You essentially have to go to airport. You can use the reward seat checker. Now, Let's talk about those other destinations here. So I got flightconnections.com pulled up. If you type in Virgin Atlantic on the airlines here, it'll tell you all of the airports that Virgin Atlantic services. Now, I could tell you that London is going to be kind of the main headquarters that all see all these red lines that kind of get colored. Those are all the direct routes from there. You can see in South Africa, Johannesburg and Cape Town, they fly directly there. Some other notable destinations, they fly to multiple locations in India and also to Malé in the Maldives. And so that's really cool. This is just something to keep in mind. So how do we find these flights? We'll get to that, but I'm gonna first show you how to use seats.aero. It's not the best way to look for the flights that I just mentioned, but it is a great way to look for flights in Europe or any direct route essentially. And so I won't go too much into detail with seats.aero, but you simply just go seats.aero, go to explore and select Virgin Atlantic Flying Club. Now, if you don't know what seats.aero is, it is an award search tool, and it makes it really easy to find business class flights. It really just kind of serves it up to you in a silver platter. However, you kind of got to know what you're looking for, and it's pretty text and number based instead of nice pretty pictures. Once you get to Virgin Atlantic, you'll just want to change this over to Europe, so that way you're searching from North America to Europe. If you have the Pro subscription, you can just select full year here. You can just sort the business class option here, so that way the lowest prices are going upwards. And now we can see that super inexpensive flight of 29,000 points one way in business class. You can click this I here, $255 in taxes and fees one way business class, which is insane because like I said, this would be $1,000 previous to this dynamic pricing change. And we've got the economy prices, and you can filter out whatever airports you're interested in actually. So if you're interested for JFK, if we're looking from Los Angeles, it looks like the cheapest flight on Virgin Atlantic is actually going to be 57,000 points. However, you still got really inexpensive economy flights. I mean, 9,000 points and $80 one way. That's insane. So that's how you find flights to Europe with seats.aero. If you wanted to try to look for Africa to see some of those South African itineraries, you can try to go to Africa, but it's not going to pull anything up. But that's why we have Points Yeah. So Points Yeah is my favorite. Like whenever I'm researching any type of route or destination, Points Yeah is one of my go-tos in addition to Flight Connections. So to get to it, you go to pointsyeah.com and you simply select the menu on the left-hand side and select Daydream Explorer. And now what I like about it is you could just type in United States and Europe, select a 60-day range. They let you search 60 days at a time, and then just simply hit Yeah. And it will pull up all kinds of award search results. Now these results, they are cached, which means they're older. They have routes that they update regularly, which is the same as seats.aero. I didn't mention that. These are old award flights. As you can see, this was updated 2 hours ago, but 2 hours isn't that long. And they'll keep results from the last 7 days. And so it could be really helpful just to kind of get an idea as far as what's out there. And sometimes I just start off my initial searches just to see if there's any like easy pickings to choose from whenever looking for an award flight, since I can search 60 days at a time from here. And so you can filter out by economy and business here. And then let's filter out for Virgin Atlantic, because right now it's searching all of the award programs that Points Yeah searches. We can see those economy flights here. We can also filter out for business. Now, another plus about Points Yeah versus seats.aero is it will pull a lot of connecting flights. And so this is going to be helpful whenever we search for Africa, but I just want to show you that it does pick up business class flights over to Europe, and it kind of, because we have Europe selected, it'll show us to Manchester, Edinburgh, etc. Now, let's change this over to Africa, and sorry, I'm actually going to go to South Africa. Okay, so going to South Africa, Cape Town, 13,500 points, $164. That is insane. And so as you can see, it does vary a little bit based on the time period that you're flying and its dynamic pricing. So it just kind of varies a little bit here and there. You got Atlanta, this one, $423. So why are those taxes really high? And that's because it includes a flight on Delta. So I've noticed whenever you have a mixed carrier booking, those taxes are generally going to be higher. I don't have a real reason why, but that is kind of the trend that I'm seeing here. But these will show you those flights that will take you from Virgin Atlantic or on Virgin Atlantic from JFK to Cape Town here. I will say whenever you're looking for business class flights, there's not going to be a lot to choose from. So $97,600. This was found a day ago. I don't know if this is truly accurate pricing, but from what I've searched and found so far, the taxes are going to be higher. They're going to be at least like 400, 500 from what I've seen, and the pricing is doable. Economy is what I was really surprised by, honestly. It was just 13,500 points. And then even the Maldives, again, not much business class, unfortunately. So as you can see, there are some business class flights to the Maldives, but the taxes, like I said, are high, $713 and 82,000 points. The points price isn't terrible, especially if combining it with a transfer partner. And I wanted to show you the economy price, also $13,500 and 173 bucks from all the way to the Maldives. And so that's pretty insane. If you are interested in that, that's something that not a lot of people are talking about right now. Granted, economy flights to the Maldives isn't very catchy, so understandable. And so with the dynamic pricing, I've talked about a lot of the good, but there is the bad. I mean, so depending on what flight you're looking for, and if you fall on a bad day, you're going to find economy flights 300,000 points. I mean, this is all the way to India, but this is just what you can expect to see with dynamic pricing, unfortunately. Just a recap of what we found so far. So we've got 6,000 points to Europe with low taxes and fees, $75 one way. We've got 13,500 points one way to South Africa. And then we've got 29,000 points business class to Europe one way with reasonable taxes and fees. That is lowest price in business class to Europe one way with this new Virgin Atlantic dynamic pricing. So a lot of good things. However, dynamic pricing, it's never long-term a good thing. For instance, Flying Blue, they have noticeably had less and less of that Saver award availability. It's harder to find a business class flight of 50,000 points. So I think this is the first couple of days of this new dynamic pricing structure. And so everything looks great now. If you do have the points and if you have the desire to go to any of the places that Virgin Atlantic flies, now would be the time to book. Am I going to book anything? Probably not, because I already got my travel planned for the time being. I don't have any open dates. But if you are interested in learning about any of these award search tools a little bit more in depth, I do have a playlist that can tell you all about them. Otherwise, if you're interested in flying other ways, or using other transfer partners to fly to business class in Europe, because one thing that we haven't also talked about is flying on the way back or trying to match two award flights. Sometimes that could be a little tricky, especially with a dynamic pricing model. So one tip would be to travel one way on Virgin Atlantic, another way on the way back with another carrier. Next week, I'm releasing a video, all the best ways to fly to Europe on business class. So be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet, and stick around for that video.